Hello again everybody and welcome back to Dark Souls 3. Now this time we're actually gonna go to the interesting part of the profaned capital, but before we do that, well, we found some stuff. For one, we found the profaned coal, and then we also rescued Carla from the dungeon, so we should probably check that out. But first up, let's give the profaned coal to our old buddy Andre. He has something interesting to say about every single piece of coal we can give him after all.
Well, Matt, 'tis good to see ye in good health. What needs smithing this day? Words. Where did ye happen upon this coal? This is much too dark. I see the abyss in it. Yet, a smith I remain. I won't turn down a request. But forget not, your fight is for the flame and for your fellow kin, just like mine. A cursed fate this may be, but hope remains, does it not?
Alright, among other things, we can now make use of the hollow infusions, which allows us to create weapons that scale with luck, of all things, which can be good if you have a lot of luck. But anyway, here's Carla. She hangs out here in this little place here, and she has quite a lot to say right now.
Ah, there you are. As I said, I am Carla, and am grateful to you. Now, what shall we do? The only thing that might interest you is my sorcery. Although my dark arts are a detestable sort. That wouldn't interest you, would it? You're a wicked one, aren't you? Very well. Humans are of the dark, and you are no different. Some may avert their eyes, but the truth remains the truth. Be careful, though. Few humans are privy to this knowledge. Let it be a secret, kept between you and I. Oh, a pyromancy tome, have we? And one that resonates with the dark. Yes, well suited to me. Very well. If this is your wish, I will unravel the thing the best I can. Besides, it will be nice to play master for once. Oh, is this a divine tome? What on earth are you thinking? I wouldn't go near a divine tome, or any so-called miracle. And casters of miracles are sure to steer clear of me. So please, don't torture me so. Ah, you, how could you? Oh, I know. I owe my life to you. Fine then. But just this once, I will tell you this tale. But do understand, it will be my first time. I'll have no sniggering should I err. Ah, you. How could you? Oh, I know. Fine then, I'll have it. There is one thing that you should know. There is a darkness within man, and I am afraid you will peer into it. Whether the fear will spark self-reflection or a ruinous nostalgia is up to you entirely. Fear not. Your choice will bring you no scorn. There is one thing that
Alright, so Carla is actually the one that we can give all our Dark Miracle Tomes to, as well as Dark Pyromancy, and one other thing we'll be finding at some point later. And, well, I haven't really used hexes too much, but the weapon buffs as well as deep protection are fairly good. And then there's also Gnaw, which at this point is actually outclassed by Dory's Gnaw, which we already got in Irithyll. But oh well. You can, of course, find her before finding that spell, because it is fairly well hidden. Anyway, here's Orbic as well. Because we did find Logan's scroll, remember?
Oh my. You've made quite the discovery. This is a scroll of the prodigious Big Hat Logan, a masterful sorcerer, long missed in Minheim. And now we have his scroll, right here in my very hand.
So with that scroll, we now get some of Logan's spells, namely Soul Spear and Homing Soul Mass, which are fairly good and outclassed by Crystal Soul Spear and Crystal Homing Soul Mass, but we won't be getting those for a while. But anyway, we could be going to the Profane Capital again right away, but first we can continue Leonhardt's quest line, because as soon as we reach Profane Capital, well, this happens. Rosaria seems to be dead and you get a Black Eye Orb. For those of you who remember Dark Souls, when Lautrec killed the Firekeeper of Firelink Shrine, he left behind a, Black Eye Orb, which pointed towards Anor Londo. Now, where will this one lead us? Oh, Irithyll. So Anor Londo again, I guess. Ah, well. So let's just head there right away to face whoever did this to Rosaria. Much like in Dark Souls 1, we now need to find a spot where the Black Eye Orbs begin to show signs of, well, something. I think it's supposed to be quivering or something. Now, thankfully, I already know the exact location we need to go to, and it is in Guinevere's room. Or rather, the room where her illusion used to hang out back in the old days. So let's just quickly use it and, figure out who exactly did this. I think some of you already know.
Well, never expected to see you here. Couldn't resist her anyway, stained with rape. And now you want to ravage her soul as well. I'll sow the seeds, I'll prune the nuts. I, Leonhard, swear so on my vows. No one will despoil her soul. No beast wrapped in human skin.
So, Leonhard, of course, is just an NPC, but he can be quite hard sometimes. He killed me more often than I care to admit. Like that one time, I'm not too proud of that. But oh well.
Back for more, are you? No ordinary man, are you? I knew it. And now you want to ravage his soul as well. You are no longer of use. You will run free no more. I, Leonhard, swear so upon my vows to the goddess. No one will despoil her soul. Certainly no beast wrapped in human skin.
For this fight, it's best to keep a good eye on your stamina, because if it's too low, you might get guard broken, which puts you in a prone position to be, parried, or rather, riposted.
What do you want with her soul? It isn't flesh enough for a sick beast.
And he keeps making references to beasts, which is kind of, you know, fitting, seeing as he looks a lot like a Bloodborne character would look like, with his armor set being kind of a coat with a hat. He looks very similar to Bloodborne's hunters. And that game was all about beasts and people turning into beasts. Hunters being, you know, one of those people who would turn into beasts. And much like any NPC battle, of course, they can heal and it makes the fights fairly annoying. Does a pretty good job of showcasing one of the bigger flaws with PvP is that both parties can heal. And it makes the fight take really long.
Blessed Rosaria.
But there he goes. Again, he killed me more times than I care to admit. There were some more deaths in between the one that I showed and, you know, me killing him. Anyway, now time for another bit of a Bloodborne reference. We bring back, you know, something to restore someone who has been killed. In Bloodborne it was a bit different because we just had to take a lump of flesh of someone who had been killed and bring it to a specific altar to actually revive them, to reverse time. Here we simply return the soul and she gets back up. But the idea is the same pretty much. And I believe we could have actually made use of her services of respecking and actually changing our looks while she was dead. And you could have also given her pale tongues while she was dead. So I'm not sure what the use is for actually bringing her back to life. Because we can use her soul to actually make something. Which we'll be checking out at some point, unless I forget. But anyway, now it's finally time to actually head to the profaned capital. Because there's still that one part that actually looks interesting. Right over there, that fire. Could be the profaned flame? Possibly, maybe not. Personally, I don't really think so, but it has something to do with it, possibly. For one, it actually shoots fireballs at us. We could have just dropped down there to the right. There was a bit of a platform you could see. It's the fastest way down there. And you don't really have to fight that guy in that case. But for now, we actually want to go inside here. And the gargoyle can't follow us. It's not worth fighting him down there. And now we have these people who look suspiciously like the jailers from the dungeon. But thankfully they don't have their annoying gimmick. Those are much easier to defeat. So much easier, simply because they don't actually ruin your day with their HP lowering nonsense. Instead they just shoot fire at you, and I guess that's a problem for some people. Personally, I vastly prefer to what those other guys did to us. Now we have some more of those gargoyles. They aren't really too much of a problem as long as you can get behind them. But because they take a lot of hits, I recommend buffing your weapon or something, just to make it go by a little quicker. And the most annoying part is when they actually block. Because their block, while they can't really parry, actually has an attack as well. And I'm just getting really impatient usually when they do it. And sometimes they do it all the freaking time, like that guy just now. Well. Okay, 3 ways. Fog door, boss presumably, that weird fire, and another room. Let's check out here first. There's actually nothing of worth down there. It's more supposed to be a shortcut down to here, really. rather than, you know, holding any kind of interesting secrets for you. But there is a glowy that you can see there in the distance. And of course, if you're savvy about the things Dark Souls like to do, you will already know that that's gonna be a trap. There's no way it isn't. Well, you can't always be right, I suppose. So, yeah, let's check out that other room before we head to the boss fog door. And it has a ton of those watered down jailers, as well as a gargoyle that I'm already aware of, and it's of course best to lure him out before dealing with anything else here. Because fighting that gargoyle while the other ones are also aggroed on you, that could be a bit of a problem. So, yep, don't do that. Of course, he will just drop down if you're not aware that he already is there. Which, on your first time, you probably, you know, won't be. In that case, you'll have to fight that guy as well as the others at the same time. But the problem is usually solved by just running away or focusing on the weaker opponents first. This gargoyle here, thankfully, was much more cooperative by just not blocking all the time. But anyway, let's take care of those guys here. There's quite a number of them here. Oh my god, they even have the same annoying footsteps as those jailers. I'm getting flashbacks here, I swear. This is actually kind of cathartic, because those guys by comparison are just harmless. I mean, come on, they don't even lower your HP, like your max HP. And their attacks don't slow you down either. What are they even gonna do? And they can't kill you in 2 hits. You call those enemies, really? I'm used to worse. Remember when we fought a couple of those that were the real deal in one room? And they died like 50 times on screen and 100 more times off screen? Yeah, those guys can't possibly do that. I'm confident that nothing will go wrong. Yep, as I predicted. They appear to be called handmaids, as their dagger here implies. Now one last challenge. A bunch of mimics. Of course, mimics at this point, they don't phase us. I mean, they could mix it up once in a while with their mimicitude. But you basically just circle around them. And you occasionally hope that you also get a symbol of avarice for them, but we already have a symbol of avarice. The symbol of avarice, by the way, I failed to mention, is actually a mimic that you use as a hat. And as long as you have it equipped, you get some more extra item find. Of course, there's a bit of a caveat too, because you take some pretty decent damage to your health per second, as long as you have it equipped, so, yeah. Oh, actually, at this point it's surprising to have a chest that's not a mimic. But well, now it's time to actually go for the boss. And it's fair to assume that who we're gonna be fighting is a Lord of Cinder, Yhorm. Of the Lords of Cinder from the intro cinematic, he's the last one remaining after all, and he is linked to the profane capital.
Yhorm, old friend. I, Siegward of the Knights of Katarina, have
come to uphold my promise. Let the sun shine upon this Lord of Cinder.
So if you actually went through with Sigurd's questline up to this point, he will join you for this fight. And he can die, and if he dies, he will be dead permanently. So there's a gimmick to this fight. Here's the Storm Ruler. In Demon Souls, there was a fight against a boss called the Storm King, I think, or the King of Storms, something like that. And you found a sword there called the Storm Ruler, which actually allowed you to kill him pretty easy. In this game, it's a bit hard to figure out how the sword exactly works. Just attacking won't really do anything specific, but you can already see what it's supposed to do by looking at Sigurd. What you are supposed to do is to charge it by using the weapon art, and then, still holding the stance of the weapon art, attack. To do massive damage. Now, this fight isn't really much of a challenge, even if you don't use the Storm Ruler as a weapon. The thing is, if you don't use it, it'll take a long time. Unless you can headshot Yhorm with, say, a bow or magic. But if you can only whack away at his ankles, you're not really gonna do much damage to him, no matter the weapon you use. But with the Storm Ruler, it's fairly simple. Just charge it up, attack him, and he'll go to his knees, charge up as he gets back up, and then wait for an opportunity, because he gets up slightly faster than you can actually attack, but with Sigurd on your side, it'll be much easier. And this actually concludes Sigurd's questline as well. So let's have a nice chat, and presumably a toast.
It seems I am in your debt once again. My thanks. I could have not kept my promise without you. Now, for a final toast. To your valor, and my old friend Yhorm. Long may the sun shine. Well, I'm going to have myself a little nap. The only thing to do, really, after a nice toast. You are a true friend. Best of luck with your duty.
And that is his final nap, because he dies. If you come back here, he'll be dead.
Unkindled one. The fire fades and awaits its one last reward. Prince Lothric is in your hands. Please save his soul.
So after you kill the third Lord of Cinder, you're always teleported back here to the High Wall of Lothric, and Emma is now, you know, not sitting on her chair, but she's bleeding, and presumably she's been attacked by someone or something. But yeah, I know something's gonna come up, so I'll just re-equip a different weapon.
Prince Lothric is in your hands. Please save his soul. Tell him what he must be, a lord.
You could kill her at the beginning of the game to get the same item and trigger what's about to happen as well, of course, but we didn't do that. So here we have this fleeting dancer of the Boreal Valley, never far from bored of the Boreal Valley. She is fought in the exact same spot she was fought in the end of the network test, only now we have some different circumstances and she is actually a late game boss. And hey, I get grabbed, nice. That could have gone better, of course. Anyway, we're back here to check out our old buddy Sigurd because, yeah, he didn't make it, as I already told you. But we do get his stuff. We get a second Storm Ruler, which we don't need, and we get his armor set. Now, it takes a second, of course, to realize that the fact that he's gone here means he's dead. So from now on, every time we finish an episode or start a new one, instead of sitting down like a lamer, let's actually have us a nice toast. Alright, let's have a look. First up, there is the Soul of Yhorm. The description goes as follows: Soul of Yhorm the Giant, one with twisted soul steeped in strength. Yhorm is the descendant of an ancient conqueror, but was asked by the people once subjugated to lead them, serving as both a weighty blade and a stone-hard shield. First off, the weighty blade, or Yhorm's great machete, as it's called. It's quite a powerful great axe. Here's the description. Great machete wielded long ago by Yhorm the Giant. Yhorm once slumbered on the front lines with a great shield, but one day, in place of his shield, a left-hand notch was added to his machete, enabling the smashing technique that would become the legacy of his later years. And the skill is Warcry, as you can see right here. It serves both to power up our weapon a bit, as all the other Warcry skills does, but in this case it actually adds a different moveset to the heavy attack, which we just saw. Overall, this weapon is just really powerful. It's probably one of the better strength weapons. Now, I'm not gonna say it's the best because I don't know. I haven't really compared stats for this game because, you know, I don't care as much, quite simply, but hey. Anyway, this does a lot of damage. This is upgrade to +4 on new game, because this is actually our regular fellow here. Our old friend, Subat, as he's called. I had to think for a second because I haven't said his name since the first episode. But yeah, that's him, wielding that weapon, and we'll be seeing that later on in the LP too. And it will get some use. Just look at this number. Damage numbers above 1000 are really rare. And if a weapon can pull that off, even as a plunging attack, it's really powerful. Anyway, let's get over to the next, well, weapon, I guess. Only it's a shield. Great Shield, used long ago by Yhorm the Giant, increases the user's poise. As a lord, Yhorm risked everything and fought unflinchingly as a one-man vanguard. Following the loss of the one he wished to protect, he forsook his shield. Now, this shield, well, it's a shield, it's pretty big. Unfortunately, as you can see by the red cross in the lower left of our screen, where we can see the shield icon, that means that we can't properly wield it. We don't meet the stats, so whenever we get hit, we, in this case, take a huge chunk of stamina loss. Normally a great shield would just absorb that. You could take like 10 hits, maybe more, and you would still just happily block. Unfortunately, not so much here. And since we didn't use a great shield yet, the shield bash is a thing. Looks kind of like this. And we probably won't be using great shields a lot, or at all in fact, because I'm more of a dodgy guy. Anyway, see you next time.